Hi, and welcome to Rest Stops, short features to encourage you toward greater life balance. My name is CJ, and here's my dad with today's Rest Stop.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Rest Stop. Thanks for tuning in. Seems like hardly a week goes by where a well-known personality, professional athlete, politician, or pastor confesses to or is confronted with an integrity breach, moral failure, or questionable actions resulting in personal pain, loss of prestige and position, requiring them to resign or be forced to step away from their roles and responsibilities. The rumors, ruined reputations, and ruptured relationships take a huge toll on anyone going through such an experience. Now, as a follower of Jesus, it is particularly painful to me when the fall from grace is a pastor or well-known Christian leader. It gives a watching world already skeptical of the messages we proclaim versus the messages we model reason to cast the first stone. And in no time, the rocks come a-flying. A wounded world and a worldly acting rather than biblical behaving church are quick to jump to judgment, seeking immediate retribution and restitution, which yes, at some point should happen. However, shouldn't we first be extending the opportunity for repentance, reconciliation, and restoration? A perusal of posts on social media by the Christian community in just the past 2 weeks certainly seems to indicate they are more interested in punishing rather than praying for fallen leaders. Now, of course, it doesn't help at all when we, others, or the person themselves puts them up on a pedestal. Pedestals are always lonely. Pedestals make lousy houses. Author Neil Shusterman writes, "A pedestal is the most insidious prison ever devised." James Dobson says, "When you let people put you up on a pedestal, you step one step in any direction and you're going to go down." There is a fine line between inspiration and idolization. There are men and women who I admire and am inspired by. However, we must be incredibly careful never to idolize them. That's not what we see in much of the world today, is it? We even have a television program called American Idol. We set people and ourselves up for failure by crossing the line between admiring and being inspired by others versus idolizing them. When a leader is put on a pedestal, they become isolated. Often there are gatekeepers assigned to carefully screen their schedules and determine who can gain access to them and who doesn't. I can understand if a leader rises in an organization and attains a senior leadership position that their schedule and responsibilities shift, and they may have to have an executive administrative assistant to provide a level of protection. Now, this may need to happen at an organizational level to a degree, but no matter how important you may become or think you are, never allow yourself to be put on a pedestal. Think about it. If you put yourself or allow others to put you on a pedestal, you will in every situation become less approachable, less accessible, and less accountable. Ask yourself, are you approachable? Do people readily have access to you? Do they have the authority to speak into your life and hold you accountable? If not, in whatever relationship you are in, professionally or personally, I can assure you, you're setting yourself up for isolation and a hard fall. Put your trust in God, not man. Psalm 118:8 says, "It is far better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." God is always faithful. Man is not. If we're honest, we know our own weaknesses. We will at some point in our lives let others down, unintentionally or otherwise. Wouldn't that be true of others as well? We must be careful when it comes to how, in particular, we view and position leaders and those in authority in our lives. Instead of putting others or allowing others to put us on a pedestal, we should all be on level ground, at the foot of the cross where we all stand and belong. Commit to being approachable, available, accessible, and accountable, first and foremost to the Lord and to one another.